Again, he's tiny. He's like so small, dude. Please welcome Melissa Barrera! And after seeing this movie, I cannot stress enough how I'm to bring this young lady to the stage. Please welcome, give it up really big for Alisha Weir! I was telling her back there, and my daughter is over there. She's 16 years old, and I watched the movie one night, and then I texted her the next day, and I was like, Abigail, holy shit, you gotta watch this. And I said, the little girl in here, she's just like, it's so creepy good. This is amazing. And as somebody that's been watching horror movies for as long as I can remember, seeing something like that, I mean, I want them one more time. Give it up for her because she really brought it, and wow. So it was mind-blowing. And the whole cast, like when she jumped on you and just dude, look on your face.
She is the sweetest, kindest human being. So soft-spoken and so lovely. And then when she turns it on, like you guys are scared watching the movie. I was being attacked by this thing. There's this one point where like she's going and then she wipes the blood from her, and I was like, God, somebody just wake me up from this nightmare. And it's like, are you okay? Yeah, she's phenomenal. Another hand.
And Melissa, with you too, with like the kind of bond that you guys formed during the movie, and then at the end where, you know, at first she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill you guys. I just want you to know that. And then the end when her dad comes in and you're like kind of just, oh shit. But she saves you from the dad. Spoiler alert, guys, by the way. So then when she saves you from the dad, you just, you know, it's kind of cool to see that bond that was formed between the two of you. So
Pinky promise is powerful. If you know, you know.
do you hear that? Okay. All right, we're good.
Yeah, no, it was amazing to play that bond and to be able to go from like enemies to being on the same team, and it was fun to shoot that final sequence. We actually shot that with her dad on the last day. That was the last thing that we shot. Yeah, it was really cool.
It was so amazing. So we've got some, I'm just going to go right into questions back here.
I wanted to say I really enjoyed the film. I think you all did an amazing job. But I had a question for Melissa. When you were playing Sam in Scream, what type of music do you think she'd listen to?
Probably Broadway. Something super light and like peaceful and calming. I feel like you would think not that, but I feel like she needs that. I feel like if she's already living in such a dark place that I think she needs something to like counteract that and to like cross that out. So probably espresso on repeat.
What was the hardest thing to do?
For me, the hardest thing to do was
I'd say that balancing the two sides of Abigail and making sure that I understood the two very well so I could switch, but also always like keep in mind who she really was and why she was doing it and what the intention was behind it. So the hardest thing for me was trying to get the balance right of that. And when I was learning my lines and reading over the script multiple times, I tried to really create that image in my head of what it would be like, so that when I went to film the scene, it was easier for me. So I'd say the hardest thing was definitely balancing the two sides of Abigail.
Did you come from a dance background?
And yeah, I do. I've been dancing since I was 3 when I started acting as well, and I'd never done ballet, so I had to learn how to do that, but having done other styles of dance and genres definitely helped because I had already the flexibility and technique, and I did have to learn how to go on point, and I had an amazing choreographer, Belinda, who really helped me with that, and also another girl who is a pro at ballet, and she was really giving me tips and helping me, but I was really determined to do it and learn how to do it, so I put my mind to it and I kept going, and I went home and I kept practicing so I could make sure that I was able to do the opening scene.
Yeah, for you guys, what was, in answer to their question, what was the hardest part for you?
I studied ballet. Oh, that you didn't want to hear about my dance background?
Let's see some.
I'll show you. I warned you. The hardest part for me was doing the Q&A when I pulled my hamstring. I hope I recover. Yeah, I don't know. The hardest part. I had so much fun on this movie. I don't know that there was a hard part. It was just like between action and cut, there was magic. And then when we cut, there was more magic. Like everybody fell in love. Yeah, it was really a beautiful experience for me.
Yeah, clap for him, yeah, because he did a whole show. He deserves that. Standing ovation. We actually now we need a sequel more than ever. Where you're Abigail and you get to dance.
I'm so down. I was trying to pitch that, and I was like, "Are you sure you want him to just die?" Because I got a reservoir of dance moves that could go. But, you know, my face often gets killed in movies, so that's nice. But thank you.
I think the hardest part for me was the fact that we had a strike between the movie, and we had 4 months that we had to stop and then go back after 4 months and like still have to like remember the character and like be in the story after like having had to take a break, a forced break for 4 months. But it was amazing to get to go back. You know, it was a gift to get to finish it, because there was a point where I was like, oh, we're never gonna finish this movie. We're never gonna be able to like see this through. After like the second month, I was like, oh my God. And then I think the hardest part of all was losing Angus and not being able to finish this movie with him. And he was such a beautiful, super talented, wonderful soul of a human, and I think we're all better for having known him in this movie.
Yeah, when you watch the film, in his moments, there's always so much light coming through, and a lot of times we didn't know what line he was going to say, or when he was going to say the line. And that was the magic stuff, because we were all kind of like veterans on this film, and this guy would come in and shake up the scene in the most wonderful way. Yeah, we were all pretty broken when that all went down. But when people ask me, they always seem to be kind of shy or not wanting to talk about him. I'm like, talk about him, man. He deserves to be talked about. He was a big, beautiful soul, big, beautiful heart. So Angus, we love you, man.
How long did it take to get off all the blood?
Oh, it didn't come off. After showers and showers, it was always still somewhere. You'd always just find a piece, and it was always under your fingernails. All the time, it was always there.
Did you guys hear the rumor about how, okay, so the only thing that would take fake blood off of you, in case some of you are cosplaying today, you look fantastic, by the way. The only thing that'll take it off is shaving cream. And the rumor was that we used so much shaving cream that they ran out of shaving cream in Ireland. You know about that?
Stop it.
There was no more shaving cream. There was no more fake blood. And
I know they did run out of fake blood because we used.
Right.
It was something like 30,000 gallons of blood.
But think about it, though.
Yeah.
30,000 gallons of blood. Think of all the shaving cream. It was like we had a bunch of people in Ireland who grew beards and had hairy legs and armpits for because they couldn't find any shaving cream, right? And maybe that's a lie. It's a good story.
I know it was 30 minutes in the shower, and 30 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but if you're scrubbing for 30 minutes, it's a long time. And so, yeah, I think by the end, Alisha and I would just hop in the shower in our dressing rooms, and and then it would look like a murder scene. All the tile covered in blood. Yeah.
What are your guys' favorite horror movies? Okay, my favorite horror movie is The Black Phone. I just love it. I watch it all the time. I just keep rewatching it, and yeah, that's my favorite.
I always say different ones because I don't think I have like one favorite that I like watch all the time. I have like a few where I'm like, I'm in the mood for 13 Ghosts today. I'm in the mood for The Haunting. I'm in the mood for Black Swan. I'm in the mood for Midsommar. Hereditary. So I have like a bunch that I go back to, but I don't think I have one. Yeah.
Some are so good. When I was a kid, my mom was sometimes sick, and so she'd keep me home from school, and we would watch movies, and a lot of them were horror movies. My mother loved horror movies, and I think I watched The Shining about, I don't know, maybe 15 or 16 times. So I would have to say The Shining.
She's very sparkly back there.
Hi, my name is Carly. It's nice to meet you. So, who inspired you guys to do a horror movie?
I remember when I booked Scream, which was my first horror movie. Scream 5, obviously. It was the pandemic, so it was 2020. I didn't know if the world was ever going to go back to normal, and I think we were all kind of like in that panic of like, are we ever gonna work again? I was just starting out, so it's not like I had a career that like people were like sending me scripts and offers. Like I was just like, I just did In the Heights, it didn't come out, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna work again. So I was like in Mexico panicking, and I hear that they're doing another Scream movie, and I was like, that could be cool. So I don't think nobody inspired me, but the fact that like Scream came around and in a moment of like deep vulnerability and uncertainty for me felt like a ray of hope. And then when I got it, I just kind of like, horror just took like a very special place in my heart and in my career. And I always loved horror when I was younger, but then I saw Saw, and I literally, I swear, it put me off of horror for so long. It traumatized me. I was like, oh, they're cutting a foot. I can't. This is too much. And like, I was like, I don't think I can watch anymore. And so Scream kind of made me fall back in love with horror movies, and now I don't want to ever stop.
I didn't really have like an inspiration either, but since I was younger, I've always been like horror movie obsessed, and me and my two older sisters, it was always the movie that we always wanted to turn on. So it's always been on my bucket list because I've always been so curious to see what it's like behind the scenes, and if it was really this scary. And I had so many questions. So since I was very young, it's always been on my bucket list. I know that it's weird because then I did Matilda, which is not a horror film, but it had always been something that I wanted to do. So then when Abigail came around and I seen that I got the opportunity to play a ballerina vampire, I was like, of course I want to do that. And so yeah.
Sometimes you gotta be a little bit naughty. Boy, did you ever get naughty. Inspired, for me, I'm like a journeyman actor. I've been around 633 years now. So inspired, the script inspired me. I thought it was an excellent script. And I watched Ready or Not. And I was like, who the F are these guys? These dudes are serious. So I just imagined them with a little bit of budget, what they could pull off. And honestly, one of the best experiences I've ever had. So now I'm very inspired to do more horror, so we'll see what comes our way.
If you could go into, you said that you're inspired to do more horror, if you could kind of go back and choose like a classic horror character to play, who would you play?
I think people would probably cast me as Frankenstein, but that's how I see myself. That would be amazing, actually. I'll go there.
How about you, Melissa? If you could go back and choose like a classic horror character to play.
Probably Carrie. Also, like, I love being covered in blood.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be some like creepy doll, like Annabelle or something, like Chucky or something really creepy. Yeah, I don't know, like creepy doll. Or
You would be a good Megan.
I feel like the sister to Megan. They did the Megan.
Oh yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
You've actually become the classic. You've become Abigail. That's pretty cool.
To that point, I think it's kind of, that's true, because we've had this really cool like horror resurgence recently. Just the one movie. I mean, I think Abigail can be this iconic character down the road, even if it's a one and done. People are going to look back and they're going to be like, oh yeah, Abigail, that's the character. So, bravo.
Hi. Hello, my name is Jacob. My question really is, in the past decade, vampire movies have not been as bloody, and with this one being a very bloody vampire movie, I wanted to ask, when you read the script and you were developing your characters, did you guys feel it was important to bring back that original bloody vampire gore that we used to have before Twilight came out?
I remember, even if it said on the page, you know, like
Blood.
so and so explodes into a blood explosion. I don't know that in any way prepared us for what happened on the day. Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a part of Matt and Tyler's vision. We were just lucky to be on the journey with them and have them as the conductors, because they're bloody brilliant.
I do think that, I love gore, and I think, but a certain type of gore, like I think sometimes it can feel like gratuitous, and I think what Matt and Tyler did really well is that they balanced the tone of the movie with the comedy to go really far with the blood, but make it seem like, oh, it's ridiculous and funny and scary, and it's exactly what this movie needs. So I think it's cool to have, because I love vampires. I think vampires are sexy. So I'm all for a good, vampire romance that is not as bloody and just sexier. But I also think that it's cool to have a wider, range of types of, blood levels in the genre. So, yeah. I heard that there was a 40x, playing of Abigail, and that they would, spray you a little bit with water when the blood came on. But I think they could have gone farther. I think it's the kind of movie that people should leave the theater soaked. That would have been amazing. Right. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
I definitely was not prepared for how much blood there was going to be. I mean, my mom had said it to me, there's going to be there's blood and things like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's fine. But then, as the film, when I first went to my first costume fitting of the Abigail tutu, they were like, and this is it all white, but it's never going to be like this. And I was like, what? And they were like, because it's never going to be white. And I was like, why? And they were like, because it's always just going to have blood on it, and the blood's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and then the day I'll never forget is the blood cannon. So that was just I remember after Melissa was like, you were like, are you okay? And I was like, no.
It was really scary. That final explosion where we kill Frank. And sorry if you haven't seen it at this point. What are you doing? But we were both, where there's this gigantic thing, metal thing with all these holes that blood is gonna spray out. And she's on one side, I'm on the other, and we have one take to get it right. So we have to fly back at the same time, jump, throw our arms so that it looks natural, but then not close your eyes, but then the blood is gonna get in your eyes. So close them right at the time so that you're not selling the explosion. And we were both freaking out and looking at each other oh my god. And then I remember the blood cannon happens, and it just there's just blobs on my face. I cannot open my eyes. And then they come clean me up, and Alisha has the most beautiful Picasso splatter of blood on her face, and I was like, of course she looks incredible. And I was like, just blobs.
Hi, so this is more of a behind the scenes question. So, Sorry, I thought you were talking to me. Kevin and Melissa, you've both done roles in the past that required a great deal of, physicality when it came to fight scenes. So you have experience in that. But what I'm curious of is how that changes when you know your opponent is going to be, a little girl. I know you had stunt women probably at some points, but how much of a hurdle as an actor was it to get over when you're like, I gotta pretend this is not an actual child, this is a vampire that is trying to kill me. So I'm just curious as to how that dynamic worked out.
She's tougher than nails, man. There was not one moment where Alisha was like, "Oh, can you be a little more gentle?" She was like, "Hit me harder," and I was like, "Is this okay?" She's like, "Come on, dude, stop being a wuss." Yeah, she was tougher than I was on it. So she did everything. She was ready all the time. She went too far because she did stab me with the thing over and over. That wasn't in the script. She just they had to. I'm serious. They had to get security in to get her off. And then when they finally got her off, she was still screaming. I was like, "It's just me. It's Kevin. It's just Kevin. I'm not Peter." She was like, and then she came back. But yeah, that's why I'm still a little scared of her, and that's why they put me next to her for the autograph signing, because I'm the only one I'm scared the least. Let's say that, because I'm ready to go whenever you want, man. Okay. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
Yeah, no, it wasn't ever like a thing that we had to think about, because she's such a pro and she's so strong and she's so agile that she was doing everything herself. And most of the things, the hitting and all of that is fake. So you're not dealing with real weight, so you just have to sell it. And so I think it was very easy to sell the strength of the character because she was so strong in her movements, and so it was very easy for us to do that.
Hi, Jamie here. I just want to first say thank you to the sign language interpreter and also the moderator, David. It's karaoke tonight at 8, right?
8-ish.
8-ish. I'm a big fan of this movie. Melissa, your character, when she's kind of sizing everybody up for money, I'm just kind of wondering how much each of you had in the input of that entire dialogue.
None.
None at all?
No. That was the way the scene was written. It's an amazing scene.
It is.
That was actually the first thing that we shot. First day. First 2 days we shot that scene. So the first words out of my mouth as Joey were those. And I was really nervous because I was like, oh my God, this scene, there's so much talking. And usually the first few days of a movie, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know who the character is yet. I'm still finding her. And so I was very nervous about that specific scene because I'm like, whatever I do in this, I have to stick with for the rest of the movie. So it was super fun to all be in the same room together, except for you. We missed you. But that was a really cool way to introduce all of the characters. It's that's good writing, when it's a kind of exposition that still feels like you're revealing, the inner workings of the minds of these characters, and it's not just hey, I heard that you're whatever, and how a lot of bad writing is in movies where you're just saying things to say them. This felt like a really cool way of very quickly getting everyone in the audience on board with who these people are, and these are going to be the characters they're going to be with for the whole movie. So we gotta get everyone on board with the mission as quickly as possible. So that was a fun scene to shoot, the first day. Yeah.
I thought that was a super Tarantino-esque type scene, like a Reservoir Dogs type deal where, and then it's okay, fine, you want names? You're Peter, and just boom, boom, boom. It felt like Reservoir Dogs to me. And that was awesome, the way that you delivered the lines and everything. And she did it for cash too. That was fantastic. Working them out of some money.
I'm just somebody that's always will be a huge fan of Angus Cloud. I will say I went into Abigail super blind. Like, I hadn't watched any trailers or anything yet, so going into it and seeing him on screen was just something super special that I didn't know I was going to get to experience again. And I just wanted to know if you guys didn't mind sharing maybe a good memory you had with him on set and how that experience went.
Well, Angus, I remember one day we got dropped off. We all kind of lived in the same kind of building, and which made us have a real great sense of community. So we were all looking out for each other. And I remember saying, "I'm going down the street to pick up some food. Can I get you something?" He was like, "Yeah, okay." So I started walking away from him, and then all of a sudden, he was just so funny. And all of a sudden, I said, I hear, "Hey, happy birthday!" And I turn around and I look, I was like, "It's not my birthday." And then I look over, and he's actually talking to these 3 girls that are walking down the street. And the girl goes, "It's not my birthday." And he goes, "Well, if you come hang out with me, we're gonna act like it's your birthday." But I just thought, this guy, he's the only person that I know that could say, like, if I said that, police sirens, but Angus just had this, just this sweetness, and this light. I just remember walking away, going to get him food. Oh, man, this guy is something like I've never seen before.
Yeah, he was really special. I had one scene with him, just the 2 of us, that didn't end up in the movie, and I was so mad. But I actually don't know if it's in like the bonus features. It might be. No? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, getting to like just be with him one-on-one was amazing, and he was a nightmare for the operators, for the camera operators, because he would never do the same thing twice in a scene, which is amazing as an actor to play off of, because he keeps you on your toes. You never know what you're going to be reacting to, so it's very organic and very honest. But for the camera operator, it was like he couldn't get the shot because Angus kept like leaning into the camera. And eventually we got it, but it was every line delivery at the end of that scene was different. And the challenge for me was not to break and not to laugh, because he was, the way that he would deliver lines so deadpan, and the things that he would think of were just so funny. And you're like, how does he even do that? And it was just his gift, you know, like he was just spontaneous like that, and like really quick to think of, like to improvise. And so that was a very special little bit that we had together. Yeah.
My favorite memory was probably when I first met Angus. He done this like handshake thing with me, and I didn't, honestly, I could not tell you what it is or what it was. It was some sort of like hug / like high five, fist bump thing, and I just went with it. But he found it the funniest thing. I think it was because I didn't really know what was going on. But then every single time then when I seen him, he would do the same thing with me, and it would just make my day. Every time I seen him, he would do it, and it was just it put a smile on my face every time I seen him, and it made him laugh. I don't know why. I still don't know why, but he found it hilarious. And yeah, it was definitely my favorite memory.
I watched a video one time of him where they took him sneaker shopping at a place in New York. And so he's in there, and he just kept going, just completely off the rails, and jumping from place to place and looking. So then they brought in, I can't think of the kid's name that's in Euphoria within the place, Ash, right. But they brought him in too to, I think, try to reel Angus in a little bit. And so they're talking to him, and the next thing you see, there's this giant, like, glass